Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of Nothing But Net, brought to you by the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. We are a couple of old school dudes doing a look into today's basketball world. And with that being said, this show that you're watching now, it can be available to you in the audio platform tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You can use Odyssey, you can use iHeart, any place where you can podcast, you can get the audio version of this. And then please don't forget, if you still want to see our pretty faces, go to YouTube, pull it up on YouTube, Sideline Junkies Podcast Network, find your episode of Nothing But Net, hit play, and enjoy it for the rest of your day. With that being said, this is my guy, the co-host, Mr. C. Perry II. How you feeling, my brother?
Doing good. And of course, it's my man, the Midnight Rider.
Thank you, sir. All right. Hey, man, let's just, because we got this little short time today, let's just jump into this NBA Cup. Knock that final out real quick. We had the New York Knicks 124, the Spurs 113. I'll get you scoring leaders later. Go ahead and you talk about it because this is your team, so you might have some love here.
Yeah, look, man, it was an exciting game. All right, this is what the cup was envisioned to be. Something exciting at the beginning of the regular season. I mean, to be honest with you, it was a great game for both teams. Both teams came into the game with 18-7 records. Knicks being second in the Eastern Conference, the Spurs being fourth in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, coming off their victory against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the semifinals. The semifinal games counted towards the record. Counted towards your regular season record, and they ended the Thunder's 16-game winning streak.
All right.
But yeah, it was an enjoyable and fun game. It was really back and forth in the first half. OG Anunoby was the leading scorer for the Knicks in the first half, with 20 points. Saw some great play from last year's from last year's Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle, as well as Devin Vassell. The one thing that the Spurs showed is that they have a young good team with a young good coach and a transcendent player in Wemby, who was actually coming off the bench yesterday, as he just returned from his calf injury. Third quarter, look, the Spurs was putting it down. And the Spurs got out to 11 point lead before the Knicks were able to cut the lead with a 10-point run that was primarily led by their bench players, Jordan Clarkson and backup point guard Tyler Kolek. They gained the lead on they were tied 94 in the fourth quarter. Clarkson hit a three to give them the lead, and it was a lead that they were able to maintain and winning the game by 11 points. Like I said, it was a fun game, and this was a fun cup tournament. 3 years in, and like I said, just excitement, and they were playing for something. Hell, they were playing for money. Okay, the winning team, each player got an additional $530,000 for their cup earnings. I'll say this as as a Knicks fan, as a lot of Knicks fans are feeling, we took this as how the MVP of the Cup, Jalen Brunson, put it, stepping stone. That's all this is just a stepping stone. And even if you go back and look at the first two Cups, the Indiana Pacers made it to the final of the Cup, lost, and that propelled them to what they did the rest of the season and making the Eastern Conference Finals that year.
Yep.
Last year, the Milwaukee Bucks, beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Oklahoma City Thunder used that experience to build along their road to last year's championship. And the same is going to be, and I'll say this, the same is going to be said for both of these, teams. To me, it clearly showed the rest of the league that the New York Knicks are legit contenders. All right. If you had any questions at the beginning of the season, with the change of coach, with the coaching change, all that was smashed yesterday. Let me tell you, Midnight Ride, I got to bring this up. Okay.
Go ahead.
There was this one part of the fourth quarter, which was key and showed me like everything that I wanted to see with this team when Mike Brown took over. Jalen Brunson, Dylan Harper hits, Dylan Harper comes down, Dylan Harper scores. Then instead of celebrating his scoring, he went and D'd up Jalen Brunson as Jalen Brunson is bringing the ball up the court. D'd him up so good that Jalen Brunson had an over and back, a turnover. Yeah. At that point, Mike Brown made the decision to sub in backup point guard Tyler Kolek, not to replace Jalen Brunson, but to have him on the court, another ball handler on the court. I mean, Mikal Bridges was on the bench for the entire fourth quarter. Okay. Tyler Kolek got the run in the fourth quarter, finished the game with 14 points and 5 assists off the bench. All right. And the reason why I bring that up is tactical adjustment during the game.
All right.
A lot of Knicks fans want to complain about why you fired Tibbs, why you bring in a Mike Brown. That's a clear example on why you bring in a Mike Brown, making decisions on the fly. If this was last year, Tibbs wouldn't have made that adjustment. So, as Knicks fan, right now we are very excited. Not like I said, not so much excited for the win, but right now that potential showing everyone that this team is a contender.
I took something similar, but from San Antonio side.
Mm-hmm.
I saw De'Aaron Fox look like the guy that he used to be. And you put him with the mix with these young long wings, Harper, Castle, those guys. This team looks very scary. They could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because they may get in the playoffs and just not know that they're not supposed to be there, and actually make a run because they can score from everywhere. Anybody can give it to you. I think they had like 5 or 6 guys in double figures. So I think Harper led them in scoring with 21, but Fox had 18. Those numbers in that balanced attack can be trouble, especially throughout the course of the year. And when they catch some of these teams off guard, this young, athletic, enthusiastic team is going to be a problem. And I can see them making a run and making an impression.
Don't be surprised if they make a run in the Western Conference playoffs. I mean, their time, their window, they got a long window. They really have a long window. If you're keeping this team together, they have a long window and they are impressive. And also shouts out to their coach Mitch Johnson. This is his time to prove himself as a coach. You got handed the keys from a legend, and now we get a chance to see what he's able to do with it. But yeah, this was like I said, I've been a fan of the cup outside of the court. Okay, I hate them courts.
Right.
Okay, I really hate the NBA 2K, NBA street ass looking courts. I just hate them. All right, but the games and the play have been exciting, and this one, and I'm not just saying this because I am a Knicks fan. This one was probably this tournament, this cup, the third iteration of the cup as a whole, has been the best one so far.
Well, I think it's easy because now you know what to expect. I think the first year it was just like, all right, what is this? Every old
Mhm,
school person I knew was like this mid-season garbage and blah blah blah. And
mhm.
you still have a very loud group, but I find it funny that most of that group got gray in their beard. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they don't like change. Um,
Exactly,
it's grown
exactly.
on me, but to say I'm gung ho about it, but I'll watch it. Like I watched last night to the late third quarter. But it was a quality game. So I don't have any problems or qualms with it. But since you talked about um the third part of this, let's kind of go into something that we want to talk about because I think it's a perfect transition.
Hmm.
Because this is one of the changes that Adam Silver's made. But you wanted to talk about Adam Silver's legacy of change, and I'm curious as to where you want to go with this because I've been reading stuff and I know he's talked about expansion. He's talked about with this NBA Cup possibly going to different venues because their contract runs out with Vegas. So
He's
wherever you
talked.
want to
Yeah,
start, wherever you
he
want to start.
he's when it comes to the cup, he has talked about taking the cup, or at least taking the either the semifinals or just the finals on the road. He mentioned it yesterday when he was in the pregame. They're talking about the possibility of bringing the cup final to uh traditional college locations.
Yep.
All right. And I'll say this, one of the reasons they could be coming out of Vegas might have something to do with another thing that he mentioned yesterday, which he's been a major proponent of as well, which is expansion.
All right.
Okay. So we could be looking at two new teams, uh, being added to the NBA, with one of the top locations being Las Vegas.
Right. So far the main two names I've heard is Seattle and Vegas. And I
Exactly.
think I think it's been way too long for Seattle not to have a franchise back there.
Exactly. And Vegas right now, as a part, think about it, as a part of Adam Silver's legacy, was the involvement of the gambling,
Right.
of the gambling books integrated into the game. All right.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, every once you make it legal, you're crazy not to figure your way into it. Okay. And
Yep.
Adam Silver and the NBA have been perfect at doing that. Uh, we can even go back, think about it. Adam Silver took over as commissioner back in 2014. All right. He took over the commissionership from, and I'll say this might be an argument with some of the NFL centric heads on this network. The greatest commissioner in the history of professional organized sports is David Stern. Hands down. It's not to me, it's not even a, it's not even an argument at all. Okay. It's David Stern with the, with the way he transformed and led the NBA to the powerhouse that the NBA became. And then Adam Silver is taking over and is trying to lay his legacy as well. I mean, think about it. He took over the game, and the first thing he had to do with was Donald Sterling.
All right.
Okay, he handled and he handled that properly. Okay, the gambling and like I said, the gambling and sports book integration, the play-in. All right, the play-in tournament. Remember how a lot of people play-in tournament started back in 2020, and a lot of people were grumbling about that. However, it's been a positive change to the game. All right. Think about it. When you have 8 guaranteed spots, 9, 10, and 11 will fall back. When you have 6 guaranteed spots, you have a bigger field fighting for the 4 just to get the 2. And
Right.
You've seen that. You've seen how that excitement has played out, especially in the Western Conference over the past 3 years.
For sure.
That's under that's under the Adam Silver watch.
Give me something that's a takeaway, and then let's jump into this email conversation.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll say this: the only bad thing that he's done has not figured out yet is the All-Star game. Okay, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until we can. But he's his legacy is about change, and one day when we have enough time, we'll talk about what he's what he's looking at forwardly as it relates to the possibility of NBA Europe.
So let's put a pin in that, and let's make part 2 next week, and we'll come back and hit it one more time with that. The last thing we want to touch on is the Warriors owner responds to a fan's frustration over Steve Kerr. You want to set this up and get us through this real quick?
Look, it was just real simple. A fan sent an email to Warriors owner
Jacoby.
Jacoby, and he responded.
Yep.
Yeah, he responded. And Steve Kerr's response to that news breaking was, "It is what it is."
All right.
Normally, your ownership, and trust me, ownership gets hit up all the time. They normally don't respond. All right. But I also feel even with him responding, I kind of agree with Steve Kerr on this. It is what it is. When it is time for Steve Kerr to walk away, he's going to walk away on his own. He's going to walk away on his on his own accord because of what he's been able to do and what he's been able to build in Golden State.
I think it's a conversation at the end of the season. I mean, because what are they, 13 and 14 right now?
Yeah.
So they're struggling right now. I would question Kerr's ability because they had a window where they could have extended this window by getting either Kuminga or I forgot the other first overall pick they had. If they had gotten one of those right, they could have extended this window, but they didn't. And I think that's been their downfall.
I would still have to put a lot of this on Mike Dunleavy, the general manager. Knowing when the window is really and truly officially closed. Okay. And I'm sorry. This window for the Warriors they've been on an IV They've been in the Ivy since 2022, since the last time they won it. To me, that window closed the last time they won it. But they want to stay, they want to stay true to their hero and try to give him one more. Yeah, it's been time to tear this thing down.
Yeah, now since you question the GM, who goes first? The GM or the coach?
It's to be honest, it's gonna end up being the coach. It's gonna end up being the coach. But once again, it'll be on his own accord.
All right. Last thing before we get out of here, anything that you're looking forward to with the rest of the way this week coming up in the NBA?
I'm actually looking forward to the Knicks Philly game on Friday on Amazon. First time they're meeting this season, and Philly. Like I said, I said I don't trust Philly, but Philly is a team that can worry you when they are healthy. So I'm curious to see how this iteration of the Knicks with Mike Brown versus that iteration of the of the Sixers with that backcourt.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a quick episode of Nothing But Net. He's C. Perry II. I'm the Midnight Rider. Just so you know, coming up next at 8 p.m., the gentleman Jack Hart in the passenger seat. He has Bishop O'Connell's coach, Joe Wooten. If you don't know the name, his dad was a legend in the area. He's done a good job of establishing his own legacy in the area. With that being said, what you got for me today to close us out?
I mean, come on. I mean, it's probably what's going to be my standard, man. In the words of Dick Barnett, fall back, baby.